afternoon. My name is Stephen Swartz. I'm 39 years old with Indigenous Wellness Training Society. Today I'm going to ask a few questions about your childhood. What it was like, how it was, what it's like now. Anything you want to share with us.
Who are you?
What's her name?
Me or her?
You.
Mabel Genaille.
Okay. And where are you from?
I was born and raised in Camp Sax, Saskatchewan, and we come in 59 to Prince George.
1959 you came to Prince George? And you've been here ever since?
I've been back and forth like
How old are you?
85.
85. Do you remember what it was like when you were in Saskatchewan?
When I got married, we had a drinking problem. We had kids. Then I started abusing my kids like when I'm drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we decided to quit drinking.
Okay. 59 years ago you quit drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hard to do? Did you have any help with it?
Now we hit on AA to all our programs to record because we know damn well we're going to stop and have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
So it's best to stay home.
Was there a lot of alcohol around on the res?
Oh,
Lots?
they made their own stuff.
Did you ever experience going into residential schools? Were you in a residential school?
Yep.
How was that for you?
Some painful memories.
Okay. It's okay. If you're comfortable, you can say what you want and when you want to say, okay? So you were married for a certain amount of time?
41.
41 years when Grandpa passed away. And she was married when she was 15.
Married at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Was that, how did you guys know each other?
It was an arranged marriage.
I just told him I was a paycheck.
What's that?
She always told him she was a paycheck.
A paycheck.
Because he worked for my dad and my mom.
It was an arranged marriage. She was.
And an arranged marriage, and I was getting married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was your husband from the same reserve, or?
No, my husband was a Métis. My grandmother used to have little tickets to buy sugar and stuff like that.
Sugar?
Tea, but we were limited to during the war, though.
During the war?
Mm-hmm.
You were short on sugar or food.
Food.
Short on food during
They
the
were
war.
short on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So during
You were limited to a certain amount each family.
And it was rationed out by the Indian Affairs Office.
So during this war, was your husband drafted? Like, did they come and get him to fight, or?
She was young then.
To him to go home and grow up.
He tried to go. His older brother went, and he was actually killed in the war. He was killed, and but they sent him home. They said he was too young to fight.
How many siblings How many kids did you have?
6.
You had 6 kids.
And she
Yeah,
adopted
and
2.
four other ones.
Was there resources around when you came to Prince George for like people to help you?
Well, no. Your grandfather come from Saskatchewan and had a job right away.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of jobs then.
So he was able to find work here.
Mm-hmm.
59, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so when you came here, that's how long after you came here did you sober up right away?
No.
No, you were drinking and stuff here.
No, I got to a point where I was no good to anybody.
So did you just decide that, or was AA the main focus to help you?
No, that's my kids.
She lost her kids.
So they were going to take your kids away. So
They did take them.
They took them, so you had to.
Overnight they took some.
And then they separated.
How did that make you feel? How were you feeling when that kind of stuff happened? What were your emotions like? Hurt quite a bit.
I cried quite a bit.
And right away you thought you need to make things right.
Yep, I promised my husband that you never see your mum drunk again.
And you kept that. You've been clean,
Yep.
almost sober, almost 60 years now.
Brian was 10 years old and I quit drinking.
10 years old? Is that your oldest son?
Mm-hmm.
So did you grow up? How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had belonged to two families.
2 families?
I have 8 sisters and 4 brothers.
8 sisters and 4
On
brothers?
one side.
On one side, so 12.
And my mother's kids were all 3 of us and 5 brothers.
So almost 20 kids total. So it was probably...
But my father didn't really associate with me. Not till I got older.
Older.
And who's your father?
Alfred Cuisance was her father.
Alfred Cuisance?
Mm-hmm.
So there probably was really struggling to get food with so many kids. Like, were you hungry often when you were younger?
Well, just the 2 months we were home.
Homeless?
When they were home, they were in residential school. They spent 2 months at home, and they were hungry a lot. Then she said,
Were you allowed to do ceremony when you were a kid, or did you have to hide it? Like, were you allowed to?
Yep.
You were allowed?
no, they had to hide everything.
What's that?
Anything like that, any being powwows and stuff. You guys weren't allowed to powwow.
No.
So
Weren't allowed to speak in their language.
We got punished when we speak language.
you're
They,
punished.
she wasn't even. They weren't even allowed in stores when she was young. Like they weren't. They couldn't go to the hospital. They weren't allowed to drink either, unless they smuggled it on.
Or we stole it.
You stole it. You had to sneak things around to do anything.
There were
Yeah.
very stringent rules, and they were very regimented on the reserve on what they couldn't do and what they couldn't say. And
Have you had any family members and people you know that suffered, with addiction and alcoholism? Like, people have problems like your kids or...
My brother-in-law.
Your brother?
Brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law?
Yep. Uncle Dave.
Okay.
He had drinking problem, but he quit through AA too.
Through AA. So AA's been pretty helpful for your
Yeah,
family.
well, if you keep going, it eventually works on you.
So you suggest, like you're saying, if you keep going to AA, it will, eventually the light will kick in for some people. Do you think being in residential school has, affected the way you raised your kids? Like, not being like through abuse and trauma, but like disciplining your children and stuff? Like, do you think like maybe you did things differently because of the trauma you went through?
Like I used to explain to them why I punished them,
Okay.
I wasn't mad at them or anything like that. And they eventually understood.
They did. How were you disciplined by your parents? Like, do you remember, like, were you disciplined?
Well, my grandmother said I was going to go to hell.
She would say you're going to hell? So you're a bad little girl?
No, it's too bad.
She was strong-willed. She was really strong-willed when she was young.
Were you able to pass on any teachings? Like, did you teach your grandchildren or kids, like, some of these traditional ways? Like, because you're a powwow, being a powwow on the powwow trail,
She was a dancer.
she was a dancer. Was there other ones in your family, like, that picked up the stuff?
Stephen.
Yeah, Stefan. But you were the one that taught them these things, right?
Well, we used to go to Friendship Center Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, Friendship Center.
We used to go there. They used to have music and power dancing practice.
Mhm.
Do you think what happened to you in school and the way you were raised, do you think that affects me? Do you think that has any effect on me? Do you think it affected your children?
I imagine so.
Yeah.
And today, like, so ways for healing for younger generations, like, do you have suggestions other than just stay in school? Like,
Well, there's a lot of places they can go for help now.
a lot of
Even,
resources?
yep, even if you're an Indian,
So what you're saying is, long time ago, there wasn't a lot of resources for Native people. Now it's more acceptable to.
go to reserve.
That's it.
I try to get help here for the home.
Do you think ceremony is good for people today? Like good for the younger generations? Help them stay focused, or
They have power, the sun dance.
Sundance, rain dance, powwows. Is it helping their people there?
Well, it's the first time they had things like that together
Again.
on reserve,
It was the first time that it's been allowed again, that they've done that since it's been disallowed for them.
And they're still quite hidden in the bush,
They
like
are,
the grounds, away from like the
People.
city people.
Yeah. It's like your dad. They call me an Indian.
People called him Indian all the time.
Yeah, because
Called a
Dark.
blackie.
And I told him, I said, well, that's what you are. Accept it, what you are.
So you're saying if you're a native, just accept the person you are and don't let that bother you, like, right? Be humble about it. Is that what you're saying? To anybody that maybe be suffering from being called names or being picked on or bullied. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them have it coming, but
But the ones that are suffering from these things, if they just maybe stay humble about it and accept that don't learn their identity, maybe is that what maybe would be helpful?
like, they're trying really hard on reserve. In fact, my sister's a teacher.
Revitalizing the language again.
Pardon?
Revitalizing the language.
Your sister's teaching the language?
She's been very instrumental in writing the dialect out and then the enunciations of it and recording it, recording it, so because the enunciations are quite different than what you would.
But the way she pronounced the word, she was swearing at me.
Oh, she's swearing at you.
She meant I love you, but she said it different.
So if there was more resources out there, like it'd be a lot more help for Indigenous people, eh? Like if there was more outreach workers or more support workers or people that would check in or
More access, or like
More
more
access.
dance groups and more traditional things.
You know what? I know that all the young boys I know, Indian kids, when they sit beside the drum, they seem to be in a world of their own.
the native boys. They seem to suffer more.
No,
When they sit at a drum, they're in a world of their own. Like it takes them.
it seems to keep them out of trouble. And,
Drumming.
dancing.
Well, thanks for sharing your words and hope you're good. You can sing us a song if you want.
Sure me.
How about prayers?
No, I don't want to put it in their language.
No, don't remember any prayers in language? Okay, well, thank you.